Hi there, and welcome to Stamping in the Barnyard. I have put together a series of videos. This is the first one of the series highlighting this specialty DSP from Stampin' Up. It's just beautiful and makes very quick cards, very elaborate cards. You have so many options. It's called Storybook Moments. It coordinates with Storybook Friends, and there's another stamp set that goes with it you can check out in our mini catalog. It has dies that will cut all of these out, as well as some of the figures on the papers in here, which we'll see during the course of these video series. I put together a class of 6 cards called Storybook Moments Part 1, and this is the series of videos that coordinate with that. For those of you who bought kits to make at home, and for those of you who just happened to find my video, I'm hopefully going to walk you through how to make those. So I would like first to give you a little tip on how, I'm not really going to highlight all the paper in here, but trust me, it's gorgeous. I'm trying to give you a little tip on how there's 2 pages of die cuts in here, and the best way to not lose them all is to pull them out still on this cardboard piece that comes with the specialty DSP. And then you can see these are all die cuts, just the cutest little animals. And it does make card making very quick and easy, and I have just loved it so much. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to punch out the necessary pieces to make this card, and there's really quite a few, because when you open this, there's a little scene that comes up inside with lots of pieces as well. So the first thing we want to do, and there's 2 sheets of the exact same die cuts, so you only need to take from one at this point, and then you can make 2 of every card, or you can make different cards. So on the front, you can see I have this little squirrel pulling off an acorn, plus these 2 little acorns. I'll put them in a tray here. And then on top of that, excuse me, I do use this little branch. I hope that was in the picture. And then we also have to open up and get the pieces that we'll be using on the inside. And that is these carrots. Again, it's probably off screen here to get all these pieces out, but here are the carrots. And I do know some of my people are making these at home, so I do want to make sure that they see what these pieces are. So I'll show them again in a bit. Now this little bunny here, suddenly coughing. You see she's facing the other way. This has been hand cut out of the DSP, and I'll be doing that, so you'll see how that's done. But it's so like this one in the opposite direction, so I don't want you to be confused, because the wheelbarrow, you need them pushing the other way. So then we have this little chipmunk. I think it's a chipmunk based on some of the other creatures, with a net catching butterflies. And then I'm going to take out one more butterfly for him to be catching. And then finally this little piece here of plants for down in the corner of the card. And there we have it. Those are all of the pieces needed to make this card. So you can imagine just how many cards. This is just one sheet, and there's still all of this left to play with and make some cards. Okay, so in the kit, if you've bought a kit from me, I use the Memories and More cards, because I really like that they are bigger than our, a half sheet of cardstock. This is 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. So it's the same, 4 1/4 that we're used to, but it's much taller, 6 1/4. And I really like these. And when you buy those, you get an envelope to go with it, and then you get a smaller card, and we'll be using that in another one of the cards that we make during this series of projects, just using this DSP, specialty DSP that I like so much. So for right now, we're going to close it and we're going to start putting the card together. So you want to take out this one, go ahead and fold your card base. You get 10 each of this size and the smaller size in your Memories and More cards. I just love the convenience of them. And then I'm going to take out all these pieces and I will describe to you how they come about. Okay, so this DSP is all part of the DSP that you get in this specialty pack. And I just love these little animals, but we're going to use this side. And then again, I just like sort of the design of this for the inside, but you can see it's got all this gardening stuff that you could have on the other side, but I wanted something less busy for the inside of this card. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to adhere all of these just with my multi-glue. Whoops, don't glue the wrong side. And this is actually one of the front pieces, because they have several pieces already to make several cards just with that front piece. I'll show that to you in a minute, but I know that I've got other people just waiting to put this card together. So you're gonna go ahead and put this piece on the front, and then you're gonna go ahead and put these on the inside here. The beauty of videos, I learned early on in my own stamping venture, is that you can hit pause and catch up if you need to, and you can go ahead if you see where it's going. All right, so we'll put these in here, and I guess I should have given the dimensions of this, but obviously if this is 6 1/4 tall, then this is just a 6 by 4. Very easy piece to cut out of 12 by 12. You can get 6 of those out of a 12 by 12 and not have any waste. Not that there's ever waste with beautiful DSP, right? Okay, so once you have those done, we'll just start on the front. There we go, close that up. And this is a welcoming spring sort of card. I'm going to put some of these pieces over there. Okay, these are brand new, and right now they're not available. The Everyday Arches dies that comes with a bundle with the same name, but they're just really, you know, they have so many sizes in there, and they just are a different kind of look that I enjoy so much. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to adhere this pretty much centered on the front. And I'm using the not Mellow Moss, that's an old color, Mossy Meadow for the matte piece. I just tend to put glue around the perimeter of whatever pieces I'm putting together. It's such a good glue that it holds super well. So there we go. And now for this arch, we're going to go ahead, and it's always a good idea to first decorate it before you put it on, just in case you have any kind of oopsies that you weren't expecting, so that you only have to redo part of your card. Now, I don't know if you can tell on this, but I like to kind of sponge a little bit of blue. This is Pool Party in the background. It helps to make the images pop. So I always check first. And I go right in the center where I can cover it up if it ends up being too dark. But I always like to check and see how much is left on my brush before I re-ink it, because you really don't need a lot. And a lot of times you think none's coming out, but in fact, when you step away, it really has. And that's been the case with this one. I really don't need to add any more ink to it. This is going to be sufficient. So that's the first thing I like to try and make sure I get done well. The next thing we're going to do is put on, in Mossy Meadow, Happy Spring. And that's part of the Storybook Friends stamp set. And I'm just going to come here and stamp that. And we have Happy Spring. And then here's the fun part. We get to take out those pieces that we gathered together, the little chipmunk getting an acorn, and we need the two little acorns and this branch. So these are the three pieces for the outside of our card. Now, you can, if you want to, trim this down a little bit if you feel like there's too much white edge, but I'm actually okay with it. So I am going to, I just want the branch to look like it's coming from the outside of the arch. So that looks good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of adhesive on it. My favorite being this liquid Tombow glue. Sure hope I hit start on this video now that I'm finishing up this card. This is one of my favorite cards. I just love the surprise on the inside. My mother loves this card. This is one of her favorite cards I've made, and it was even before, you know what, I want him a little higher because of my, I should have probably put it all together first to make sure I spaced everything well. But this is when I'm really glad for those cleanup pieces. This, let's see, I should have one in here. One of these that can take up glue if it's where you don't want it, because I have a feeling I'm going to have some glue where I don't want it. Okay, and then I also like to take this branch and kind of stick it behind so that it just looks like there's kind of more bulk to the branch that he's getting the acorns off of, so that it kind of fills the space a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and add this. You know, when you make a video, you tend to go a little quicker, and it opens you up to some foolish mistakes. Okay, here we go. So I am going to just add this in here. There we go. And then I personally liked these acorns cut apart, as you can see here. I cut them apart and then I raised these up on dimensionals. And I like that, so I am going to do that again. It doesn't take much, and there's a lot of white that you can just almost cut right in between all of it, and you get less of the white surround, but you also get a nice image. You don't have to worry too much about cutting too much into the image that way. I just love these. The images are so pretty. And they can make some really quick cards, as you'll see if you join me in the rest of the series of cards that we made in this first part series. Okay, so there's my two acorns. And now I'm going to put some dimensionals on them. And did I gather my dimensionals here? Thankfully, yes. Okay. So I think these just about fit on there. Yep. Perfect. And then on this one. And then again, I'm going to be smarter about having a look on here of where I want these to go. But this looks pretty good, right? Like that. I think I like that. Trying to decide if I wish somewhere over here instead for this card. But no, I liked it. I do like it better over on this side. Don't ask me why, because I don't always know why I do. But there's something about a Z and a triangle and a, yeah. Anyway, here we go. I also feel like this acorn is kind of pointing right at Happy Spring. And that is, after all, what we're celebrating here. Okay, so we're almost done with the front. I do love these brushed brass butterflies. It's still the month of February, and this is a selection. With a $60 order, you can get a free add-on of these brushed, do I have the right, yep, okay, brushed brass butterflies can be added on to a $60 order. I love them because they're shiny and pretty, but they're also flat, so it doesn't make mailing an issue. So I like to use this to poke up my embellishments. I'll put a butterfly here and then, whoops, lay it down like that, and then two smaller ones. I'll do one here. Because, you know, butterflies, they're also a sign of spring. There we go. And there we have it, another finished front. And so we'll put some adhesive on the back. And then we'll work on that fun surprise inside. Again, very simple to do. Here we go. Just make sure this is on straight. Okay, and as I said, I do have a bit of glue here. I'm going to wait till it dries and then I'll be able to clean that up. But now we're going to work on the inside, and you can see that on the inside of this, I have a 3" by 3 1/4 inch piece that will go here, and we are just going to adhere this little flower piece or plant piece in the bottom right corner. And this is your piece to be able to write to whoever the recipient is a short message wishing them a celebratory spring. And then I put hello friend. That's another one of the sayings. There really are, I mean, how many? There's 17 different stamps in the Storybook Friends set. So I just take that and put that there again in Mossy Meadow. And then this kind of helps by putting this in the corner first. You get a bit of an idea of the placement of the opening up piece that pops up. So I'm just going to come in here and I'll give it just that little border here. Oh, I lost a butterfly. Oh, down on the front of my card. Nope, they're all there. Okay, I missed that happening. Okay, so again, we can set this aside for a bit while I show you how you use this piece. Now, this is some of the beautiful DSP called Thoughtful Journey that came out in the annual catalog last spring. And it's just so pretty and you can do so much with it. And I liked the idea of having these little animals, you know, kind of traipsing up and down the hill with the beautiful sky background. So I was real happy with that. And so this piece measures 5.5 by 3.5. So this is 5.5 across, 3.5, and then just scored right in the middle. And then what I did was on my scoreboard, for those of you who want to repeat this, while it's folded, and you want to make sure it's at the bottom, so you're looking for the part that's at the bottom. And at 3/8 of an inch, which is just, if you take all the markings, 1, 2, 3, 3/8, I made a little mark there, and then I flipped it, and I made a mark right at the 1 inch. And by doing that while it's in half, it actually, the marking goes through to both sides. And then once I've done that, you could do this if you're really skilled. You could do this. I did a permanent marker right down at 6 inches, so I had the middle of this. And you could put the notch in here. Let me fold it because it really does work this way. You can put the notch in here and the other notch here and just score through like that. And it should score through to both sides, so at least to be able to see it. And if you want, you can then do that again. The other way, of course, is that you could do that with a ruler. And I like the rulers that have sort of a metal edge, and so you could come in here and score it up that way as well. Now, for those of you who bought a kit or are using a kit at home to put this together, I've already done all that work for you. What I haven't done, which you will have to do, is on the shorter side, this comes up an inch, it's in the middle at the 3/8 point, you're just gonna snip off the corner piece like that, because this is going to become, and then you fold both of these back, and that's how it's going to go in your card to open up. But because you see that scored line, now you know where you can put all these little creatures that we have here. Now there's one more that I still have to cut out of the paper, but I'll do that last. So here we go. I do like to trim these up a little bit, so I'm just going to do that really quickly, because as I said, it's pretty easy because you have the outline and you're just going halfway between the edge of it and the actual image that you're trying to cut out. So you can, and this is not necessary. It might help though a little bit with some of the spacing on the card itself. So, and you don't have to be so exact because you have this beautiful image and that's the picture that they're gonna see. So I tend to just follow the die cut itself, and where they turn, I turn, if that makes any sense. And then I just come in here and around, and there are our carrots trimmed. And then I don't trim everything. I don't think I trimmed everything. I didn't trim everything. I did not trim, did I trim him? I trimmed his feet a little bit just so that I felt like they didn't show up against the grass. And I would have trimmed this in advance of the video, except for some people like to see just how it gets trimmed. So I pretty much kind of just faded it out here at the tail. So I did not trim the whole tail. I just basically trimmed the feet, but then I did want to come up on this side and have it come down, mostly just so that it's not stark where I stopped trimming. I don't know if that makes sense, but I know what I mean. Okay, so you can see how much of this is left. Also, I trimmed a little bit of the wheelbarrow, and that did have something more to do with freeing up a little bit of space on the inside. But you can just imagine all the great images and storybook scenes, really, that you can put together with all these fabulous pieces. I just love this so much. I've actually gotten to where I really like their die cuts. For a while I thought, well, I'm not stamping anymore, but you're still being creative and you are still stamping together with it too. So there you go. So there's my wheelbarrow, my carrots, my butterfly. I'll trim him up real quick because this one's a pretty easy one. It's so little. Hope this is all being captured on the, and then too, for those of you who don't want to trim yours, you can just move the video ahead. And for those of you who are cutting along with me, or if I'm going quicker, you can just hit pause. I actually really like making my cards alongside a video. And here's some tips if there are any. Okay, now the last piece, this little rabbit facing the way, that direction in the little blue dress comes from, I'm going to show you the sheet, because there are so many images from that sheet that can be cut out. So here we go. Just gorgeous. I should probably show you, but this really is just to help people come along. So you can see this is the little rabbit that I'm cutting out, but the dies work on so many of, like, this rabbit, and it'll cut out this little rabbit with the turnip, and then this little bunny rabbit. So the dies that cut out the stamps also cut out so many images in here. But for right now, I'm just gonna come in. I'm gonna try not to mess up the scenes too much as I pick out there isn't one cutting the rabbit in this direction, so I do have to hand cut this rabbit. And I know that makes some of you very sad. And maybe for at least one particular person that I know purchased this kit, I probably should cut it out for her before I send it to her, because I know she particularly does not love fussy cutting. You know, you either like it or you hate it. I don't know very many people who are, you know, don't have a position on cutting out. I am one of those people who could cut all day. That, you know, a lot of people say in front of a TV. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I can certainly cut out and talk at the same time. I'm trying to decide if that's part of the bunny or not. I don't think it is. So I'm going to come around here, get the little tail, which is cute and definitely a part of the bunny. I sure hope this is all going on the scene. I tend to draw it closer to me because I don't have the best eyesight. So you can see, you can cut out even if your eyesight's not that wonderful. Okay, there we go. See, that didn't take long. Well, at least in my mind it didn't. I hope it didn't take long. Okay, so now we can put these all together, and I prefer to put them on here before I actually adhere it to the inside of the card. So that's what we're gonna do. Now I like to start with this little chipmunk walking with the net, and it is okay for his tail to go past, the way this ends up folding up, it's okay for his tail to go past the score line, and I actually like that. So I'm going to put him on with that hanging over. You can tell when I'm thinking, huh? Because I stopped talking. And see what I did? I wasn't thinking enough. You cannot put, that's the thing, do not put glue on the tail if you plan to have it hanging over. So hopefully, I'm gonna probably have to clean that up later too. Let's see, let's have them going right here. I'm going to do my best to keep, you know what I have? Excuse me for a second, I have it right on the table. It's a big table. But a little trick is this embossing buddy that comes with the kit to do some heat embossing. This powdery stuff inside it, and you could use cornstarch or something, but if you put that where you accidentally put adhesive, it'll keep that from sticking. So now I've taken care of that issue, and now we'll put this other butterfly on. Let's see. There he goes. He's gonna get away. And then we'll put the wheelbarrow next. And then I'm going to fold it in half here because you want it to kind of be going down the hill. And then again, it's okay if the bunny also, like ears, kind of hang off the page too. But don't put glue on them, right? At least I thought of that in time this time. This paper is so gorgeous, even the other side. Thankfully, they give you 2 sheets of each design, so you have a lot you can do. You're not limited to just your one idea. Okay, and then I like to put the carrots on top, because that is what a rabbit would be pushing in a wheelbarrow, right? Because rabbits push wheelbarrows. Oh, these images are so cute. And who doesn't think of Beatrix Potter's little Peter Rabbit with all these little animals? So adorable. How did I do that? Yeah, I like to kind of line up that top carrot with the edge of the wheelbarrow, so it looks like these are just kind of overflowing and hanging out of the wheelbarrow. Okay, so then we have it. Now at this point, I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to put our finished one aside, and then I'm going to show you how. Yep, of course I got to remember, right, how to do this. Okay, so the main thing is now where you've cut that corner off, you're going to bring that straight line right up to just on the right hand side of the score mark, and you're going to put adhesive only below, but definitely right up to that crease, but then and below. Make sure nothing's hanging out of the card here. If it is and you need to trim this a little bit more, then do that, but the main thing is you don't want to see any of it when the card is closed. So I am gonna go ahead and put my adhesive on, because as I said, the first thing is you really want to make sure you've gone right up to that score line, and you have to be able to see it to do that. Okay, so I've done that. And then once you've drawn that line, you don't have to be quite as specific about the rest of the glue. There we go. And then I'm going to come back. How'd I have that? Yeah, lined up just like this, making sure none of it sticks out any edges. And then all you have to do is close the card. And you want to make sure that glue is well adhered. And then what you do now is the same thing on this side. Now I can't pull this toward me like I did the last one, as well because it's adhered to the inside of this page. But I'm going to do my best to get right under that score line. And then put some glue on the rest of it. There you go. And you may have already guessed that at this point, you close the other side. Now I still have some of that sticky glue on the front of my card that I'm going to be cleaning up. Oh, but it didn't actually stick to this, which is what I thought it might do. You can see it's a little bit messy there, but I'll get to that and it'll all be fine. And you open this up and there's your scene. Isn't that so cute? I really enjoyed coming up with this card. I really love the scene. I have several grandchildren and it's just exciting for me to be able to make them little cards. They live far away and send them out to them. Now, if anybody wants to stay on and just see how I clean this up, it's really just, and you can just get these online, and all this red stuff that's now coming on is from cards previously. So I'm gonna just clean this up a little bit and pull this off. And don't get worried if initially it looks worse, because that's really the beginning of it being cleaned up. You'll see this. We used to sell these a long time ago, but we don't sell them anymore. But as I said, you can get them pretty cheap on Amazon. And I think I've even seen them in the dollar store. But you can see how it just cleans up. The key, you'll notice I did this, the key is wait till it dries. If you try to clean it up before it's dry, it's not as successful. I'm trying to think if there's any place else that I want it, and I just feel for it. I suppose you can move the light a little bit and see where the extra glue is, but I just like to stick my hand in and feel where it is. I'm a middle child. A firstborn would be more, well, that's my theory anyway. And this is all because I ended up moving the little chipmunk up a little bit. And so the glue that was on the back of him, and that was coming out during the edges. But if you have a little bit of patience, you'll get this all cleaned up. In fact, I'm really satisfied with it now, but there are still these little tiny spots left. I'll get those up. And then we'll really be good to go. There we go. Just about done. All right, there we go. So we have two little happy spring cards. You can see he's a little bit further up in the air. I probably should have taken just a little bit more time, brought him, I had him too low. Maybe I didn't even when I think about it now. But I still am very happy with this card. But you see them both and you can decide your own placement. Thank you for joining me.